Hey, this is David for Big Bits, and in this video we're going to take a look at Libra and whether or not the project is actually dead. Now, you might not have heard about it in a little while, but if you were paying attention to the news just last year, you would have seen Mark Zuckerberg testifying in front of many people in the legislature trying to defend his project and more importantly for him, Facebook at that time, as he was drilled pretty hard about privacy issues on Facebook, more so even than the Libra project that they were all there to discuss. Now, the Libra project has notably seen some major companies leave from backing it, and one of its key features going into the project when it was announced was that many large corporations were behind the project, and since then many of their largest backers as far as corporations go have actually left the collection of organizations who were supporting the project. Now, the news has been relatively quiet on Libra for quite some time, although there has been recently some changes announced, and it's going to be a pretty big change, and you can get the sense that from these changes that the association with Libra is trying to make Libra a global currency and not just a Facebook currency or just a social media currency. They want Libra to be the currency. They want other countries to have their currency supported on Libra, and Libra do all of the transactions. Now, that's the goal with a lot of different cryptocurrencies, not just Libra and some of these others put out there, but the changes made public for Libra here recently kind of go against all of the great things that they said they would like to do in the beginning. So surprise there, right? Mainly the changes are coming about because of the regulatory stuff, but I just wanted to touch a little bit on some of the things that they did mention, because a lot of these things have actually changed. So they started out by saying that they were wanting to start out with a new financial system not controlled by Wall Street or central banks. Now, one of the changes that they're actually talking about is providing direct support for central bank digital currencies, and that's pretty funny. They are going to be augmenting the Libra network by including single currency stablecoins in addition to the Libra token. So they were going to be doing their own stablecoins, but now what they are actually going to be doing is they are going to be planning in support for the central bank digital currencies as well. So you can see here that the white paper indicates that they could come to serve as a platform for central bank digital currencies. Now, they have always kind of had the plan to be able to incorporate these, but at the time, there wasn't a whole lot of plans by countries to create their own CBDCs, and now they are quite popular. If you check the news out, in China is pretty close to releasing their own. So what they're doing here is they're trying to get all of these CBDCs in as part of their project so that you can get onboarded and be using Libra globally as sort of a unit of exchange between all of the currencies. Now, part of the other things that have actually been changed are pretty important to the actual fundamentals behind the concept of cryptocurrency that a lot of people actually like. Now, one of the main things that Facebook released this for, or announced the project for, was so that they could compete and offer financial transactions similar to how companies like WeChat in China are doing that over there. Now, they are going to, of course, be backing it with their digital currencies. And then here we go. Here is one of the regulations that they talked about at the beginning. One of the only major things that were mentioned in this particular article was that you would have to have a government identification like a driver's license to be able to even acquire Libra. So they did start off with some measures to keep track of who has Libra and how they're getting it, but they wanted to make it to where any software developer could build on top of it, and that may or may not be the case for the CBDCs that get announced later on. Now, what they tried to emulate here is probably something like a smart contract with Ethereum, to where you could code in where money goes and how based on certain logic, just like a computer program. Now, the actual reason that they wanted to use this is because there were going to be permissionless, and that they wouldn't have to rely on the central banks. And this is the one I was actually looking for here. It says, because blockchains are shared databases, they can function without any central operator like the central banks that have historically governed currencies. This structure will allow Libra to be overseen by many companies. Now, it's funny that this is the message that they sent out originally, and that now they are actually trying to support directly the central bank digital currencies. And it even goes a little bit further than that. Not only are they including the central bank digital currencies into their platform, they are also making it to where they are changing their own rules about how things are going to be conducted, and how maybe this is more of a government regulated project than you might have believed. So to answer the question about the video, is Libra dead? No, but it is changing, and it could become something just as large as they wanted, but maybe not as well, not in the way that we all might have liked if you are a cryptocurrency enthusiast who believes in permissionless networks and decentralized networks. Now, back to the notes over here. They are going to be changing some of their rules. They are going to be adding in a network level system around anti-money laundering, combating the financing of terrorism, and sanctions enforcement. So these are all things that were clearly brought about as changes due to the regulatory pressure from the different governments. So they advertised the project as being something that would be sort of decentralized and permissionless, and to combat the traditional system, but it appears they're incorporating all the rules of traditional systems. So I'm not really sure. I guess what they were trying to do was just to get everybody's attention. At first, they should have known that they would have had to play by the rules. Now, they have to do this, and exactly why is because they heard the concern. When Zuckerberg testified, they absolutely had to change the rules on what they were doing, and they've actually went and gotten licenses, or applied for licenses for financial transmission. I believe one of them was Sweden. Yes, so the Facebook project is growing, and I shouldn't even call it the Facebook project. It's actually managed by Libra, and they have been working on a wallet for it. There's many other corporations who are involved in the project, but what I am looking at for the future and for this project is that, first of all, it is not dead. It will be coming back, and it will be a part of the news, and it seems to be trying to become some sort of global currency. And with Facebook having 2 billion users, I believe is the number I heard, and don't quote me on that, I don't know, but they have very, very many users among many, many countries. So they could potentially pull something like that off if they are able to support their token with these and follow the rules and regulations in all the countries they operate. So this is something to really keep an eye on, because I have mentioned in previous videos on the channel that certain countries are better off having these private corporations come up with their central bank digital currency. So why would the United States create their own central bank digital currency if all they really had to do was create a token on another existing network? Now, obviously, they want all of the control behind it, but if they can just control Libra, then it doesn't even really matter. So this is something I'm going to be looking at a lot more closely here as the news starts to come out about this again. I believe we'll be hearing a lot about this again in the coming years, mostly because the CBDCs, or central bank digital currencies, are going to be becoming way more prevalent, especially as China begins to release their first versions of it. And there have been screenshots of that posted on the internet as well already, as a I believe it's a wallet that has already been released in some sort of testing phase. So you can always go out and check out that news. But that is it for this video, and whether or not Libra is actually dead, and it looks like it's far from it. So if you like the video, please leave a like, and if you like to, please subscribe. We talk a lot about it. We talk about a lot of crypto stuff on the channel, and we also talk about trading and how to do some tutorials with that as well. But I appreciate you watching the whole video up till now, but thank you and have a nice day.